Hello, namaste. This is Timothy taking a walk on a beautiful summer day in Savannah. And this video, I've been meaning to put this video out for a while now. It's really meant to be an update, a personal update, what's been going on with myself personally, as well as what's going on with Rasalila Healing and where I'm hoping to take things in the future. So for whomever may be interested in any of that, that's what I'm going to be speaking about today. So I am walking back to my little patch of woods back here, and despite what many of you might think, I'm not actually in a rainforest. No. I'm actually behind our local Savannah Salvation Army. This has been the one little patch of environment that I've managed to find locally where I can get away from people, get into nature, and have a little bit of sanctuary and solitude. Because I actually don't have any yard space at all, which is really crappy. But it's been really nice to have this little spot back here that I found to be able to get away from people. I used to do these videos in the local public park, and I'm so sensitive to people and their energy that as people would walk by, I would oftentimes pick up feelings or thoughts. I'm a very sensitive person. I'm an empath, so people would walk by and overhear my loud, far-out astrological rants, and then I would feel their judgments or whatever they were thinking, and it would very easily throw me off. So I'm very grateful to be able to have this little area back here to walk around and talk to you guys. But what I really want to share with you guys is more of myself. I've been wanting to put more videos out like this one where I'm kind of just opening up and sharing in a more informal way. And there's really two reasons why I want to do this. First of all, I believe it's part of my own healing journey, really to share my healing journey with you all as it happens. And I'm just beginning to appreciate how early I am in my own healing journey, and I'm very early on into it. There's many things that I'm still early in resolving and figuring out, and rather than being one of those people that's waiting to become perfect or become mastered or totally figured out, I'm not waiting. I'm sharing my story and my process and my progress as it happens. And so, there's many things I'm healing, there's many things I'm working out in myself, and I'm not perfect. And I feel like this is part of my own healing journey, to be able to share my experiences with others as it happens. Now, the other part of this video and opening up and talking more personally is, I really feel that it's very important for astrologers to do so. And it actually almost concerns me the lack that I see of that sometimes, practiced by other astrologers. Like so often you'll read books or study online, and these astrologers won't even post their charts, or very little information about themselves personally comes out, which I think is a problem, really, because when you're getting an astrology reading from somebody, you're getting that person's personal history, their personal philosophy, their personal spiritual perspective is going to be your astrology reading. So it's actually very, very important to know personally the astrologer, because that's where the reading is coming from. There's a horse farm back here. I was going to see if they're out, but it looks like they're not out today. But so anyways, I'm gonna explain what's been going on with Rasalila Healing and myself. There's been so many changes that have been going on. These have been the most intense years of my entire life. This last year has been one of the most intense years of my entire life, and really these last 4 or 5 years has been some of the most intense years of my life. So, my history with astrology is that, I've only really been practicing super dedicatively for several years. I really began the process of studying astrology back in 2011. I was originally studying Vedic astrology, and I actually gave up on Vedic astrology because I simply couldn't find the right teacher or the right system, and it just never really clicked for me. But I was very into Hinduism at the time. That's very much my own background, is being very deeply submerged into Hinduism, and spirituality originally introduced from Ram Dass and Be Here Now and Neem Karoli Baba. And then I got very much into Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I very deeply submerged in Eastern religious thought, particularly Bhakti, which is basically the understanding of a very personal relationship in spirituality with God, Goddess. And that is very much a big part of my astrological practice, is personalities. Being personally associated with personalities. I see all the planets as personalities that can be personally associated with. And you know, this concept I really do see as a fundamental concept in all religion anyways. We see the concept of family very much in Hinduism, where there's God, Goddess that are seen like Mother, Father, but we of course see this in Christianity as well, where there is Father God and the Son and all of these things. But anyways, so I was deeply submerged in all of that, and then actually one of my friends bought me one of my first Western astrology books, and this friend is no longer into spirituality or astrology whatsoever. He's no longer a friend, interestingly, but he introduced me to Western astrology, and I completely obsessed and submerged into it since that point on. I started studying everybody's charts. Let's see, what else was going on that time is I began my relationship with my partner Mackenzie. We've had a twin flame relationship that's been going on for over 4 years, and she has now a 6-year-old stepdaughter, and I live with them, and it's been tremendously growing experience, yes, but it's also been quite intense. The twin flame relationship, we've really evolved and matured immensely, but these years have been intense, and my personality has changed many times over in these recent years, and particularly this last year kind of seems to be one of the bigger game changers for myself personally. First of all, only a year ago I was a recent college graduate who was with an animation degree trying to earn a living as a freelance animator, and I went into almost a 2-year-long depression around that time. I had no interest in animation at all. SCAD was a very interesting learning experience for me that brought up one of the big themes that I'm going to actually talk about today, which is experiencing a theme of isolation. Pretty much throughout my entire life, distance from even the closest people to me, my best friends, my family. There's been a lot of theme of isolation that's gone throughout my life, and you know, going to college was tremendously isolating. If you can imagine what the demographic of animators are like, most of these people are simply trying to make money doing something that they consider fun because they're so obsessed with cartoons, which is not why I was in animation. I think it's a very powerful art form and medium, but man was I isolated. And then I graduated right after a college professor told me, you're never going to make it as an animator unless you can work well with groups of people and as a team, and I knew that I was not that person. I cannot be that person if I tried. So I tried freelance animation. I was literally animating the stupid advertisements you see online websites, you know, click here and buy this, that stuff, and it was horrible. Yeah, I felt terrible. It was very insecure. I wasn't making enough money, and what I was doing was thoroughly useless. It didn't help anybody. So in this last year, let's see, I am extremely grateful and thankful for all of you, for every single person who has ever messaged me, sent me a comment, posted, thumbed up, whatever. You guys' support is the reason for my own paradigm shift that is still going on, but has majorly gone on this last year. It's been a huge paradigm shift for me. The fact that I get to walk around, hold a camera, and talk about whatever I want, and have the possibility to continue doing this type of work is a huge paradigm shifter for me. So thank you all for that opportunity. And this is what I want to talk about. I would like to keep going in this direction. I would like to keep making videos in this type of more personal, more subjective, yes. You know, I'm very much in love with astrology, and I've gotten this huge push from the universe and other people to continue to focus on astrology, to continue to make astrology a center focus of my life. However, I've also sort of seen that compared to other astrologers, I tend to be a lot less technical. Even when I come out here to do the weekly reports, oftentimes I'll forget to say stuff that I try to remember, even stuff that I'll write down, I'll forget to say. And then as I'm walking home, I'm just like, gosh, I can never remember the technical parts. I'm always missing stuff. And you know, I'm starting to become more okay with this. I think that the line of work I'd like to do astrologically is talking about more the essential, potentially more underlying spiritual stories and meanings and these types of things. And of course, I would like to, you know, teach intro astrology classes and work with the technical stuff as well. But I sort of feel like that's not as much what I personally like to focus and talk about. But what, if anything, I would very much appreciate getting back from all you guys is I would like some feedback in what you guys would like to see, of course. And really, the way I'm going to put this is what I would love to get from you guys is what would you like to get, what would you like to see, what would you like to talk about, hear about, that you're not seeing or hearing from other people, from other spiritual teachers, from other astrologers. I would like to talk about the subjects that are not being talked about so much by other people. As a part of my own life and experience and major struggle has been dealing with situations and experiences that are very rarely talked about in the spiritual communities by other people. And so it's been a lot of figuring stuff out on my own without a choice. And this is, you know, once again, I'm very early in my healing journey. I've had to deal with some issues that have been isolating. I've had sexual fetishes since I was 5 years old. I had major anger and frustration issues my entire life, and I still very much struggle with some of these things. And I know in the future that I'm going to be able to open up and talk more about these things. And I'm not quite there yet because I'm still figuring and working out these things myself. But I would like to hear back from you guys what similar things you might be struggling with. What deep, underlying, potentially fringy, a little controversial, is not being discussed by other people, is really the subject matter that I'm very much called to do. And this is very isolating work. This has been a major experience for me my entire life, but it's becoming more understood to me. Why have I felt isolated my entire life? What is my position? How do I see the world, and how does that actually isolate me? Is becoming much more understood as I continue to move in the direction of working with astrology, teaching astrology, etc. Because there's lots of people that still, you know, it's always going to be isolating work. I've dealt with many disappointments this summer. This summer has been very tough. There's been a lot of stuff that was lined up and looked very good, like it was all going to work out and we were going to move into this much more comfortable, much more easygoing, collaborative, community-based type of environment. And one by one, all of those things fell through, and it's been very difficult and very painful. And I've been mentioning in a lot of my recent videos how it's been tough for me to keep up with my astrology work. And, you know, this is kind of the big thing with Rasalila Healing, is this is obviously my first year trying to run this business, and it's experimental. Astrology is a huge ongoing experiment, and I am so grateful to have the opportunity to work with this experiment, to contribute with this experiment, but the fact that I get to live experimentally is hugely liberating to me. Because astrology is an ongoing experiment. There's no defined one way to do things. In fact, that would be very counterproductive in astrology to approach things that way. But my own chart readings has been a thing that I'm very much learning about because I do take a long time with them. And I'm the type of person that I have to know that I'm giving my best in order to feel satisfied. I've had this lifelong issue with dissatisfaction. Yes, that's an Aquarius trait. Divine dissatisfaction is when we're not always satisfied. And this has been the source of my anger and frustration my entire life. And a good friend of mine, a fellow astrology student, Tracy, she told me this year, you know, the distance between, or you know, what anger and frustration is the distance between where you are and where you want to be. And that really struck a deep chord with me, because that's pretty much what the divine dissatisfaction is, yeah, you know, this is a beautiful world and all, but don't we know what this world could be? Is the source of so much of this dissatisfaction and all these things. But anyways, I take that divine dissatisfaction and I bring it into all of my chart readings. I bring it into my weekly video. I put tons of time into my weekly video. I put tons of pressure on myself. I've become very used to redoing videos multiple times, taking multiple takes, and this is how I am with my readings as well, is I will redo readings. I will spend a long time on a reading to make sure that I feel like it's all good. And because of this, you know, it's been a struggle for me to figure out how to schedule, maintain the charts and all of these things, and so this is also what I'm working out right now. And I've been spending the last week redoing the entire scheduling survey system through the website. And what I think I'm going to be doing is, instead of attempting to estimate when someone's chart reading is going to get turned around to them, basically, I've been very, very bad at estimating the times it's going to take for charts. And I'm always underestimating the time. It usually takes longer. And I am getting quicker with charts as time goes on, but once again, I'm very early in this. I've only been studying and practicing for several years. So, you know, the way I'm going to start doing the system from here on out is there's simply going to be a waiting list. You know, if you schedule a Skype session, we schedule that on the calendar, but then for audio recordings, there's a waiting list, and you can simply check your place on the list, and then I don't have to provide people with an estimated time. You can simply check your place in the list. A week can go by, and then you can check your place on the list again, and then you know generally how much time you have to wait. You know that it's still coming, and that you're not being robbed, and at the same time, you know, I have Pisces up on the midheaven. I basically need to have the flexibility to not know how long it's going to take to do a specific chart every day. I can't stay fixed in a defined schedule that stays true every day, and it's been a real struggle to try and do that, because it simply can't happen. Not the life I'm living, not the personality I am. I do things very, very different than how the culture does things. I do things very slowly. I'm a Taurus moon, and that seems to not agree with culture very much throughout my life. But let's see, you know, what else has been going on? You know, I want to talk about some of these personal transformations as well. So, you know, let's see. I'm very, very grateful for the people that have truly pushed me in the direction that I'm going and have helped me out. You know, in dealing with all of this isolation, it's been very painful. So it was great. I was able to speak to David Palmer, the Leo King. We had a Skype conversation last week. Really great guy, great astrologer, and he basically just you know, uplifted me and reaffirmed me and made me feel really great looking into my own chart and all that. So you know, I would highly recommend him and check him out. He's a great astrologer. And then of course there's Tom Lesher, Kai Pacha. I owe this guy pretty much everything. This guy has practically saved my life in many respects. First initiating me into my own birth chart, teaching me astrology. He's my first mentor. And then even kind of pushing me in the direction of practicing professionally has all happened within the last couple years. So there's been so much stuff that has been going on. There's been so many changes. And basically what I would like to do in the future is I hope to have more time, more energy to be able to focus even more on this stuff. A lot of the difficulty I've been going through has been sort of forcing me into the position of understanding, listen, this is what you got to do. You just got to give yourself to what's most important to you, not worry so much about other people, not worry so much about the world's bullshit. And so this is what I want to do. And I would love to hear back from you guys yet again. What would you like to do with me? What would we like to share? What would we like to talk about? How could we do more videos like this that are a little bit more informal? What subjects can we open up the ground to and start talking about that can even step a little beyond astrology as we continue to make astrology sort of the center point? But we're also going to start talking and think about areas that can go beyond this, that can be practiced in our life without having to study the planets and these types of things. So I'm very interested in expanding in all that. And I also would like to teach. I would like to teach an intro astrology class. I think that knowing basic and general astrology is one of the most useful things that a single person can know at this particular time on Earth. And you know, you guys and this stuff and this video and what I'm doing here is yet again very, very healing to me, because this is making me feel like I can express myself, my voice. I have so much stuff to share. You know, before I started doing these videos, I thought about this stuff in my head all the time. As a child, I would sometimes not be able to sleep because I would just think and think and think and think, and I never had an outlet for it, never. And so this is the first year that I finally have an outlet for all of my crazy rants, for all of my crazy talks. And there's so much more that I have yet to release. Yes, I feel like I'm this bubble that just wants to explode. And so this is the stuff that I very much want to continue to do. I would like to continue to share with you guys. And it's very supportive to hear the support and to know, basically, that I'm safe, that it's okay for me to do this, that it's okay for me to give my energy and my time and my focus to this stuff. I don't have to worry about being blasphemed or damned, because guess what? I still have to deal with so much bullshit. I still deal with so many friends, so many close relatives and people who see me as the false prophet, who see me as delusional, as completely insane. And because I'm so sensitive, I'm an empath, I feel what other people are feeling without anything having to be said. And that, I'm finally starting to understand, is very beneficial when it comes to reading people's charts and doing astrology. But I have to tell you, it's been, before that understanding clicked, a major struggle. Dealing with sensitivity, dealing with isolation, and dealing with a world that seems to be light years away from the type of world that I'm interested in and would like to be involved in. So again, thanks for listening to this rant. Thanks for coming with me out behind the local Salvation Army. I look forward to speaking with you more and more so into the future. Thank you again for all of your support, for allowing me to change my life and for allowing me to enter this new paradigm. And I hope to continue to share myself with you all so we can start distributing this thing, so we can start making this available to everybody everywhere. So much love to you all. Namaste.